and welcome to Absolute Football Podcast, Absolutely Lower League, the show dedicated to EFL Championship, League One, League Two, and the National League, just because I wanted to get involved. I'm your host for tonight, and I am Charlotte, and I couldn't do this on my own. We have got plenty of football to talk about, and I need help. You don't want to hear me going on all night. So we have got Anne. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah, when you said that I need help, I felt so sorry for you. In more ways than one, but never mind. Yeah, good. You know, Sunderland finally won at the weekend. Third time of asking. The weather's lovely up here, so can't complain.
Oh, love to hear. And it's a really good podcast because all of our teams have actually won this weekend as well. But there's me, there's Anne, and we couldn't do it alone. We have got our new team member, Clare. Clare, how are you? And please tell everybody who you support.
Hi everyone. I am a Stockport County fan, so finally happy. Like you say, we all won at the weekend, so plenty to smile about.
It's nice to have a podcast as well where each of us are smiling, because it's usually me that's not. It's usually me that's a sad one.
Especially last season.
I know. We've rolled that off now.
Can we apologise to anyone listening from the south who don't have a clue what we're talking about today?
Do you know what? I'm actually loving this because now and again, there's a few Northerners that come on, and obviously we've got us now, but a lot of the team are from down south, aren't they? So it's like, oh, I need a fellow Northerner to help me out here and go on about my love for gravy all the time, and no one appreciates it or anything. But now I feel appreciated. So yeah, I love it. But there's not just us in the chat as well. We've got Jill. Love Jill. Hi, Jill. We have got Isaac, Graham, Lisa, and Sam. We love Sam. Hi, Sam. Should we get on with talking some football then?
Definitely.
Why not?
Do you know what, Anne? I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to let you get Sunderland, obviously, out the way. Nice win for you, so I will let you talk Sunderland.
I just got a little frog in my throat there as well. Oh, damn. Yeah, great result, to be fair. I mean, obviously, we went behind relatively early on, and it was like, oh, God, no, not again. Hello, Simon. But yeah, it was like, I was getting a little bit worried because obviously it was typical Sunday. We had all the play, which has been exactly what it's been like the first three games, where we've had a lot of dominance in the ball. And the bother is, at the minute, we're not playing with a striker. We've had Bradley Dack playing up front, and he's obviously a number 10. We couldn't put the ball in the net. Rotherham, and their first shot on target goes in. All right, here we go again. The little bit of the boo boys, you were thinking they were going to start, but we equalised pretty much straight away. Jack Clark's put a wonderful ball over for Dan Neil, and he's headed it back, and Joe Bellingham scored his first goal for the club. And he wasn't happy about that. He went for a second one and got the second one, got the win after, which I think is a really, really good goal. We've won the ball back off Rotherham, trying to play the ball out from the back, and then the balls came to Dack in the box. He's just put this lovely, clever back heel for Bellingham, and Bellingham's just blasted it away. You wouldn't have thought he's a 17-year-old kid. Like it's been like I think it's kind of, we've seen, the birth of a fantastic footballer on Saturday. He's obviously, he's well known for being Jude Bellingham's brother, but I think he's going to make his own way. He's got Job on the back of his top. He doesn't want to be, he wants to break out for himself. And he could have had 3 or 4, to be fair. He got subbed off, and he seemed a bit disappointed to go off, because he probably should have scored 4. But the second half thing, we were so comfortable. It could have been anything you want. If we get a strike, and we're rumoured to be signing one within the next couple of days, we should be all right. I'm not saying we're going to go up. I'm not saying we're going to go down. I think we'll be pretty much in the middle, maybe battling against the playoffs. But we're going to score a lot of goals this season. But I think we're also going to concede quite a lot as well. It's going to be an exciting season, I think, if you're a Sunderland fan. And we've got Coventry up next. There's needle between us and Coventry. That goes back quite a long way. So that'll be an interesting game. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, good to get off the mark. Obviously we'd lost the first 2 games. probably didn't deserve to lose them too. And then, it's good to get off the mark the third time of asking. It just relieves the pressure a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I know you just mentioned, obviously, you're in for a striker. Any rumours who you're linked with, or is there anything pretty much set in stone who it will be?
So the rumours are on the Jungle Drums on Twitter and everything like that we've got a Ukrainian lad coming in. I don't want to pronounce his name. I think it's Rusyn, Rusyn. But he's got Champions League pedigree. He's played for in the Champions League. So he looks as if he could be a decent striker. He's 24, so it's not just what we've been doing, signing kids and trying to develop them. 24 is pretty experienced, isn't it? So. Yeah. Fingers crossed we can get that over the line. And I think we were rumoured getting a loan in, so much so that Tony Mowbray said on Saturday that would be tomorrow, which would have been Sunday. And then he said tomorrow again on Sunday. So obviously we've all been singing the famous song by Ronan Keating, If Tomorrow Never Comes, all week. But so far that hasn't happened. So I'm not sure if he was on about this lad. I don't know if it was another loan. I think Stansfield was mentioned from Fulham. That was going around, but we'll see what happens. Like last year, we kind of waited until the last week of the transfer window, and obviously that's coming up. So I think we'll be all right. I think from what Mowbray sound like, the D seem pretty chilled on the transfers. So I think they've got irons in the fire. Just have to see which loans are coming in or which Premier League sides are willing to let us have their wonder kids for a season, like what we did with Jallo last year.
Yeah, of course. And obviously you mentioned a striker. What do you think there's any more positions you might need to strengthen or add back up?
Yeah, I definitely think we need another winger. Obviously Patrick Roberts got injured on Saturday. I think he's going to miss the next 2 games, which is a blow. Because he's just such a wonderful footballer, and we haven't really got anyone with the same kind of pedigree of him. We've got a couple of young lads, or Lyndon Gooch, who can play anywhere, really. I think Lyndon Gooch will probably come in, but I'd like to see us sign another winger. And I still think we need another centre midfielder just to plug the gap that Corey Evans has left with him being injured still. So I wouldn't mind us seeing one more centre midfield. It's really like 3 positions, really, but that's what being greedy, I'd love to get, one player in each of them positions.
Definitely. And just looking ahead of the weekend, have you got a score prediction, or what are your thoughts on the Coventry game? Do you think you can get a win, or do you think it'll be a tough game for you?
So we haven't beat Coventry at Highfield, or whatever they call the stadiums now. And it was a Rico, and now it's some casino, isn't it? Some casino ground or whatever it's called. Anyway, sorry, I've always called the Rico. So we've never won there since 1985. So that was a year before I was born. So it's about time that we did win there. The bother is every time we go down there, we play terribly. We did it last year. We probably left our worst performance of the season for that game.
Records are meant to be broken, though.
Exactly, Claire. Exactly, they are. And there is a bit of needle between both sides. I think, to be fair to Cov, I think Cov have started the season quite well, considering they've lost Hamer and Jokeres. I think they've actually brought in quite well. I think it'll be a tough game. I will take a draw now. Sorry to sound pessimistic, Sunderland fans, but I would take a 1-1 draw away from home. Yeah, I think that'll be a fair result.
Oh, nice. And we'll obviously speak more about Sunderland after when we preview and have a look at the table, but we'll move on to our next game of the week. Norwich 3, Millwall 1. Claire, what are your thoughts on that
game? Obviously Norwich just tends to be a bit yo-yo. Like,
they're known for it, aren't they?
The Premier League for a while, then they'll have a little season or 2 in the Championship. But yeah, they had a comfortable 3-1 win at home to Millwall. Jonathan Rowe made it 4 goals in 4 games. There was also goals from Josh Sargent, and Ashley Barnes scored his first for the club as well. It seems to be pretty free-flowing for Norwich throughout the match, until injury time, when Millwall got a goal back. That was through Imaku.
I know. I struggle with names, mate. But yeah, we'll call him that anyway.
I know. I was glad to see that last week, because at least I know it won't just be me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was in injury time, and then there was 8 minutes of added time. Millwall absolutely battered Norwich for the rest of that, but they weren't able to get any more goals out of it, and so it was a really deserved win for Norwich. So it probably no surprise to anyone that they've started quite well.
Do you not think, does anyone else not think there should be a league between a Championship and a Premier League for the teams like your Norwich, your Sheffield United, the one that are like in between?
Like a bit of a waiting room.
Yeah. Just like a waiting one. Or there should be something, if you get promoted and then relegated within so many seasons, like a couple of times, you shouldn't let you get promoted for another couple of seasons.
I know, because that massive amount of money that you get from being relegated from the Premier League, and then if you win the playoffs to go back up, that's the most expensive game in football, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe they do it on purpose.
I know. What's this one? The Parachute Payment League. That is true. But yeah, no surprise, obviously, with Norwich. Do you reckon they'll be one of the contenders this season? Do you think they'll go up? Do you think they'll get playoffs? Do you think they'll just go up there? What's your thoughts?
Well, they always seem to be up there, don't they? So
Yeah.
they're obviously more than capable of being up there. For me, it's kind of tinged with a bit of like it could be us, because Norwich away was my very first away game. So seeing them now like going between the Championship and sort of Premier League, I'm like, oh great.
Oh,
reminds me of what could have been.
Positivity podcast. It will happen.
You never know. You never know.
And obviously,
no, I do think they should do quite well, and if they don't, then there'll probably be a lot of disappointed fans.
Yeah, definitely. And Millwall as well. They seem to be a very strange team, Millwall. They did quite well last season, didn't they? But just one of them teams at the minute. I don't really know what to expect of Millwall.
Yeah, same really, to be honest. I don't know. I don't see him being more than probably mid-table personally, and I judge that on absolutely nothing. It's just a gut feeling.
Yeah. What are your thoughts as well, and obviously being our Championship expert on the podcast?
Oh,
what are your
very,
thoughts?
very loosely put, isn't it? I'm actually surprised how well Norwich have got off, to be honest, because I don't particularly think Wagner was the best choice for them. With him coming in, I thought it was just a bit samey. Obviously, they got rid of Daniel Farker last year. He's gone to Leeds, and I thought that maybe needed to do a full change and change a little bit of the way they play. But he seems to have got them, really banging the drums so far this year. I really, really like Josh Sargent, the striker. I think he's a fantastic footballer, American, and he just holds the ball up really, really well. And what they've done this season is score quite a lot of goals so far. I mean, beat Millwall. Not many teams will beat Millwall by 4 goals. Or score 4 goals past Millwall, sorry. As for Millwall, I think, obviously during the summer, the chairman sadly died. He was involved in a car accident. And I think it's obviously taking them a little bit while. It's obviously, affecting them, which it's going to, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I think that's basically what's down to their bad start. But, we're looking at obviously the early sackings that do tend to happen, and I'll be surprised if Rowett's not top of that. To be honest, the way they've started the season's been really poor, and I think they'll be a little bit worried. They seem to be an easy team to score against, which that isn't Luton. That isn't Millwall. Sorry, so it's going to be difficult to see what they can do. I actually agree with what Claire said. I had them near the playoffs, to be honest, before the start of the season, but I think mid-table, but it might be one of them ones where if they don't pick it up very, very quickly, they might be like what QPR did last year, where they just dropped like a stone. They could be, facing relegation, which would be a shame, to be fair. But we'll see what happens, really. They did so well last year. They only missed out on the playoffs, on the last day of the season. And even by then, they were 3-1 goal away. So I don't know if it's a hangover from that, combined, obviously, with the chairman sadly passing away. It seems to be a little bit of a sad club at the moment down there.
Yeah, definitely. You always you get them teams, don't you, do really well and either just miss off on playoffs or get playoffs one season, and then the next season they do tend to drift off a bit, don't they?
Yeah. I think it goes to show as well that you don't really pay attention to the league table this early on in the season. It's nice if your team's doing so well, like obviously Scoops' Gillingham's doing so well at the minute, top of the league and everything like that, but it could easily just go completely the other way. So after, you kind of, once you get to November, get to Christmas time, I think you know where you are. And that's when the league table proper starts to, take stock. And that's kind of when the cream rises, really. So we'll see what happens. There's still plenty of games left for them, but like I say, I just think it's a club that's just in a bit of a sad place at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And another team, obviously, who I thought would really struggle this season, but they've had a takeover. They're doing well at the minute. Bristol City 0, Birmingham 2. I mean, I was really shocked so far. Birmingham seem to be picking up the points, don't they? But obviously, the first half, they did look pretty even. Both teams didn't have too many chances, to be honest, but Bristol City did have a lot of the possession. Ethan Laird, though, bless him, he returned to training on the Friday. He had a hamstring problem, but then in the first half, just before half time, he obviously had to come off for Birmingham and got substituted. I cannot pronounce this guy's name who scored, so this will be funny. Is it Miyoshi?
The Japanese guy, yeah.
The Japanese guy, Miyoshi. Yeah. I was looking at it thinking, I think this is how you say it.
He was at the World Cup. He played at the World Cup.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I don't know if you've seen his goal, but he came on and within like minutes, I think it was a 40th minute he came on. And I think it was 45 plus 2, like added time he scored. And he scored a really good goal. So obviously at the break, they went in 1-0. Second half picked up again. Bristol City again had a lot of the ball, but they never really caused any threat to Birmingham. Birmingham always had the better chances. And then Rob Dickey obviously got sent off, 2 yellow cards. I thought it was really clumsy as well. I don't know if any of you have seen the challenge, but I think it was just really clumsy and just unnecessary. So obviously that added to Bristol City's bad day. And then obviously Jukovic scores for the Blues, the second goal, and that was in the 84th minute. And I think what did really worry me was Bristol City this game only had 8 shots all game. None of them were on target.
No.
It's a bit worrying for him, isn't it? A bit worrying
Especially,
for him.
There's no disrespect to Birmingham because, as you said, I think they've started the season really, really well. But if you're not getting shots on target at home to Birmingham, they're going to be thinking, Bristol City got to be thinking that's a side we need to be winning games if we want to get up to the top of the table. And I think that they were quietly confident at the start of like kind of being one of those surprise packages this year, and it's not really working out for them. And they are normally really cool at Ashton Gate. They normally have a fortress. But I agree with you about Dickey's tackle was really stupid. Like, I mean, he headbutted him in the stomach, didn't he, to stop him?
Yeah.
You wouldn't talk about on a rugby pitch, never mind a football.
I know. I was just thinking, like, I know obviously players get frustrated and things like that, but I was watching it and I think, that's just plain stupid. Yeah. Like, why would you do that?
Definitely is. And I understand what it's like to not have that many shots on target. It's something we're going through as well. So as a fan, it's really frustrating. So I'm sure Bristol City will turn it around.
Yeah, definitely as well. And obviously they've got a good manager as well, haven't they, Bristol City? But like I said, I'm just really shocked at Birmingham. Seems to be really positive at the minute. I don't want to go too into it because apparently we were actually linked with Tom Brady to take over Rochdale. I don't know how true that was, but I am very bitter about it because what could have been for our club? So I'm very jealous. But yeah, it's good to see, to be fair, because they've had a bad few seasons, haven't they, Birmingham, like off the pitch as well. So especially some of the fans, they've had a really hard time. So I think it's nice that obviously they get a bit of good news, isn't it? A bit of positivity.
Yeah, I mean, and then the women's team as well, they've really strengthened that this year. So they have one about trying to get them back into the WSL, and I think they will win that league. So it's good to see a club like Birmingham are one of those. I hate to say sleeping giants, but they are. They're obviously ex-League Cup winners, and they've been in Europe and everything like that. I think the Premier League needs a team like Birmingham in there. Just for the rivalry with Villa as well. I mean, it's brought so many cracking games as well. Obviously, Peter Enkelman, kicking the ball and missing it completely, letting it go in, from a few years ago. So hopefully, they can turn that around. But it is good to see them back on track.
Yeah, it is really good. And our last game, obviously, the Championship, what we're previewing, Blackburn 1, Hull 2. And what are your thoughts on this game, if you have any?
To be fair, and we're talking about, surprise packages and teams who've shocked people at the start. I mean, Hull are on fire, aren't they? Like,
really are.
They've got themselves, 2 wins out of 3. Making some really, really good signings. Obviously, Scott Twine from Burnley, and Scott Twine in League One a couple of years ago was absolutely firing for MK Dons, scoring goals left, right, and centre. Didn't quite work out for him at Burnley. He got injured quite early on, but them getting him in, if he can, replicate that form from MK Dons, he'll be a great signing. And they're rumoured to get Keenan Davis in from Aston Villa, who he's an absolute unit, isn't he? So he. He'll score goals from him. I think he's like a 1 in 10 striker, which you kind of look at, but it's not all about the goals really for him. He brings people into play and everything like that. But one of their signings in the summer, Aaron Connolly, which I was actually a little bit disappointed Southend didn't go in for him, probably because he's not 18. But he scored twice, but it didn't really kind of the story of the game really was all about Blackburn. They were down to 10 men very, very early on. Harry Pickering sent off for a last man tackle, which but then Blackburn took the lead. Literally on 74 minutes, you're thinking the game's over. Sam Gallagher pops up, and they're thinking, right, they see this out. Can they possibly take the 3 points against all odds? But then like I say, Aaron Connolly comes on, 2 goals. Very, very good player. Really, really good result away from home for Hull. Like I say, they're a team for us to really watch out for. I think in the Championship, they're going to be one of those sides, I think, who are going to spoil a lot of team seasons where teams who are wanting to, get into the playoffs, get promoted automatically. Going to Hull's going to be very difficult this season. And again, another club that I think you're kind of happy to see them turn it around a little bit, because there was a lot of uncertainty about them a couple of years ago, wasn't there, with the owners and everything. They've got a fantastic manager as well in Liam Rossini. I think he got treated a little bit badly at Derby, and it's good to see him got a job so quickly, and he did really well to turn them around last year, and they're kind of just keeping on that forward trajectory. So it's shown Charlotte and Clare, I think, that the Championship this year is so much more competitive than it was last season. I think you knew straight away Burnley were going to go up. Sheffield United were kind of up there within the first 5-6 games, and then obviously Luton just stayed at that steady pace, where they're always there or thereabouts. Whereas this year, so many of the sides who kind of we were saying maybe who were going to be up there haven't won yet. Obviously, Sunderland ourselves, we were in the playoffs, we've only won 1, and then you've got likes of Hull, likes of Norwich who have started really well, and then obviously Ipswich who have come up from League One, have won every game. So it's going to be such an interesting season. I think it's going to be one of those ones where by Christmas, I think you're looking at probably 12, 13 sides who can get automatic promotion. I think it's going to be really, really open this year.
Yeah, be good to watch as an outsider, but maybe not so much if you're in it like you.
Definitely not. No, definitely not. But I'm just enjoying being out of League One, Claire, so I'm over the moon, mate.
Just looking as well at some of the other results. So Leeds United 1, West Brom 1. What were we expecting for that game? Do you think it was a tough one? Obviously, for both teams, do you think there's points missed, or do you think it's a good result on both parties? Because Leeds have been struggling, haven't they, as well? I don't know what to make of
They might
Leeds.
have a bit of a hangover from being relegated. It must be really difficult to turn around such a losing mentality as a club, because they, although they did have a rally at the end of the season, they pretty much, they didn't have a good season. So they'll be hoping to turn things around soon, I'm sure. But with that form, it's probably a good point for them.
Definitely. They just really confuse me. But I did think out of the ones who did get relegated, they'd struggle the most. Leeds, they're not really stable at the minute, are they? Like with managers, with takeover, things like that. They are really up in the air at the minute. But good point for them, especially against West Brom, because I think West Brom are one of them teams. I think they are a good team, aren't they?
Yeah,
very hard to beat.
Think they did lose quite a lot of players as well, didn't they? So
yeah, they did.
It's probably a case of building up again from the bottom, really.
Yeah, I think West Brom's keeper had a fantastic game as well, didn't he? On Friday night, he really did keep them in it. The Leeds were a little bit unlucky, but you've got to put the ball in the back of the net, haven't you? As we've all,
100%.
As we all know, you can have, and I've always said this: you can talk about XG and possession and everything like that. There's only one stat that matters in football, and that's the final score.
They need to scrap
100%.
XG. It does my head in.
Yeah, I'm too old for it, to be fair. I don't understand it. So,
Oh, it's just another annoying thing that they have to bring to ruin everyone's day.
It's happening a lot in football, isn't it? They're bringing in all these things just to ruin all our days. They really are. Did you expect Southampton to beat Plymouth 2-1? Obviously, it's quite a juicy game, isn't it? That one. Plymouth have been doing well, but obviously Southampton, good team, even though they have lost players. They are a very good team, aren't they, Southampton, for the Championship?
Yeah, they
yeah,
are.
yeah. The bother I think with Southampton is the transfer window still hasn't closed, so there are going to be teams that are going to pick in a couple of more players. I really do think that they've obviously lost James Ward-Prowse, went last week, didn't he? And he had a fantastic game for West Ham, but that's for the other podcast to talk about. But I still think that there are 2 or 3 players that might stick out to Premier League side to want to get a good young player in. So they're doing well so far, and Russell Martin's doing a very good job. But I still worry a little bit that they might get a little bit cherry picked before. Certainly, if not before the end of this transfer window, definitely in January, where Premier League sides are wanting, a couple of players, and if they're still doing as well as what they're doing now, I think a couple of them will go.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. Another team who got relegated from the Premier League, Leicester 2, Cardiff City 1. Were we all expecting that result because Leicester have been on a bit of a roll, haven't they?
Yeah. I think that's pretty much nothing to see here, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're all expecting it. A team that have really been struggling, Middlesbrough 1, Huddersfield 1. Do you think that's a good point for both teams, or do you think that's point lost for Middlesbrough? I mean, they're at home as well, aren't they? What is going on with them?
Well, they're just again, like Claire mentioned before about I think it was Leeds. It's just a hangover, isn't it, from the playoffs? They went into the playoffs not in form. I think there was seven or 8 games without a win, and kind of limped into the playoffs, even though they got into the playoffs relatively quickly. But they're having a really, really bad start, and they've obviously lost Akpong now. He's gone somewhere. Has he gone Ajax? He's gone somewhere in Holland, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he has. I'm sure he has.
I mean, they got 12 million for him, which I think for a lad who's had one good season, I think that's, and bearing in mind it was a fantastic season, not taking anything away from him. But now they don't really have a focal point up front. They're playing, midfielders up front and things like that. And they obviously, Cameron Archer hasn't come back, and he really did help fire them into the playoffs last year. So they just haven't recruited, I think. I think there was a comment just before there about Carrick, and I kind of agree with that. I wonder if Carrick's holding out for a bigger job, and maybe he's kind of thought he hasn't been given the tools for the job this year. But I still expected them to beat Huddersfield at home, taking nothing away from Warnock. We all love him. He'd have loved going back there and getting a point, because obviously they sacked him, didn't they, Blair, at the start of last year, the year before. So he'd have loved gone. They'd had a lot of satisfactory red wine glasses, I think, after then. But yeah, as Isaac just said there, they haven't invested at all. And the problem is, in the Championship, as we said before, the amount of teams now who are improving and signing very, very good players. We mentioned Hull before, Stoke on another side, who brought some very good players in. If you don't get there quickly and, lose a couple of games, it's very, very hard to come back from that. And I think Borough have got a very interesting week left in the transfer window, where they probably need 5 or 6 players just to come in and steady the ship, really. So I don't think they'll go down, I don't think anything like that. But you're thinking now, if you're Steve Gibson, the owner of Borough, they've been out of the Premier League for so long now.
Yeah.
When's it going to happen? If it didn't happen last year, which is probably the best opportunity, when is it going to happen? Because it certainly doesn't look like this year the way they've started.
Yeah, definitely. And just a comment from Graham as well. I think Carrick needs results quickly, or that seat might start to get a bit warm. Do you reckon Michael Carrick's job safe? Do you reckon he's under massive pressure after obviously last season, and the expectations obviously this season now after the finish last season? Because you think when he took over, they were really struggling, weren't they, with being relegation? And then
Probably
obviously
is under pressure, but if they're not, investing and they're not backing him, then what's he meant to do? He's not a magician.
Exactly. The thing is with Borough as well, that they are becoming a little bit of a club where they do, pull the trigger a little bit too quickly. As we said last year, I'm fairly sure it was last year when Warnock, it probably was, Warnock got sacked. And then obviously they brought another manager in, and he didn't last the season.
Yeah.
And Carrick came in, so it's difficult for them because I don't know what goes on over there, but there seem to be where they have one season where we're going to sign Premier League jobbers who have come down a division to try and get them out of the division, which hasn't worked. So then next thing, right, we'll try youth, and then don't stick with that plan. Like last season, they signed Daniel Barlaser from Rotherham, and Daniel Barlaser is a fantastic footballer. So it's like, so what's the point in signing? You know what I mean? And now obviously they've lost the two players who were their focal points after that point, so about 30 goals between them. Where and now replacements, where the goals come from, that's your worry with Barrow at the moment. Yeah,
I completely agree. And another link to obviously Michael Carrick, we have got McKenna, who's at Ipswich Town. Was you surprised about how good Ipswich have started? Because I am. I thought they'd do all right, to be fair, but I didn't think they'd have the start they have. But QPR as well, they're one of my favourites to be struggling, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll get relegated, but I think they'll be in a relegation battle. What are your thoughts, Claire?
I agree completely. I do think that they'll struggle this season, but also I'm not surprised at Ipswich's start. And I think I've got a friend who supports Ipswich, and my husband's workmate is the dad of one of the players. So I think I get a lot of information come from them too. So I think
Love it.
I think I think they were up there in League One, consistent, and they seem to have they fell, and then they just kind of quietly went about the thing, and they've invested well, but they've kind of steadied the ship and then built on that. So I think I'm not surprised that they're doing all right, and I think they will continue. They might surprise a few people this season.
Yeah, definitely. Sheffield Wednesday, Preston North End 1. I wasn't shocked at that either, to be honest. I think Sheffield Wednesday will go straight back down.
Yeah, 100%. Did you see on the highlights the amount of fans that were leaving early? And bearing in mind, the team's only 1-0 down, and it was just like a float. You would have thought the fire alarm had gone off. It was that, and that's sad to say. I mean, I've got a little soft spot for Sheff Wed, to be honest. It was one of the game, one of my first one of my favourite away games when we were under Roy Keane and they played Hey Jude at half time. That's where the song Na 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 Keno came from, and we just demolished them that game. I love going there as well. I love Sheffield as a city as well. It's a beautiful city, and had many great nights out there, but they're going down. I think we can write them off quite quickly.
We're all in agreement for that. In agreement for it.
Unless something dramatically changes in the ownership or anything like that, I really do fear for them. I don't think Cisco was the right man to come in. I would have kept with Darren Moore, but I think there's been an interview with Darren Moore today online why he left and everything like that. I'm really interested to hear that. But Preston are another side who've started the season very well as well. 7 points out of 9. Really good start. That they beat us last week. Again, I think we probably should have beat them, but it is what it is. But they're a good side, Preston, and another team I think will be up there. Another spoiler side as well. But yeah, I thought, like I said, that it was a very comfortable 1-0 win. Could have been much more, but they got the goal in the end, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely. Another 1-0 win as well. Stoke City versus Watford. Is Watford's manager getting sacked already? They love to sack a manager, don't they?
Yeah, there's three things in life, isn't there? There's death, taxes, and Watford sack a manager.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a few Watford fans, really good guys on the Don't Scratch Your Eyes podcast, and they're not good at unless they completely change the philosophy of not sacking a manager after 3 games. They're not going to come back up. I mean, what they did last year with Rob Edwards was criminal. They let him go after a half-decent start of the season. They drew against Sunderland. They got rid of him. And then he went to Luton and got promoted. So it was like, I mean, it was a two fingers up then, wasn't it? But they don't learn the lesson. They really don't. And it will happen. Of course it will. It will happen this season where they will sack their manager. Because obviously they're not top of the league. I'm just looking at the league table now. I don't even think they're in the top 10. So
it's ridiculous. They need a bit of stability.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah,
Completely agree. Obviously, we mentioned the Sunderland result, and there's a lot of love for Sunderland in the chat as well, and a lot of love for them. Everyone wants a new series.
There's actually there is a new series coming out next year about our. I think it was the first kind of the playoff final win and the first kind of few games in the championship, but they were actually filming when Alex Neil left. So I don't know if the cameras are rolling or anything like that, but that would be fantastic to watch if that's true. But I know it's going to be like a bit of a good news kind of. I think it's only like 2 episodes or one big episode or something like that. But it's actually good news or something for a change. It's actually a series that I will watch because I haven't watched the other 2.
I feel like you can't beat a little football documentary. They're always quite interesting.
They really have some really good ones.
They're making too many though now. Do you not think? I mean, we're having like literally one about every club now, aren't we? So I mean, I'm looking forward to the Rochdale one, Charlie. I think that'll be good.
Oh, don't be depressed. I've got a fly on my bloody camera.
Yeah, we can call it that. That could be the name of the documentary.
I know. Honestly, though, that would be depressing. I don't think anyone would tune in. And then again, everyone would feel better about their own teams.
No, you've had the up again now.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. And Swansea City, Coventry City, 1-1.
Yeah. Swansea can't win at the minute, can they? They're struggling to just get their heads over the line. I think it was another one where they should have won. And I mean, Coventry is such a well-established, strong championship side. So yeah, I can't believe I'm being so nice about Coventry.
I know. Are you sure you're a Sunderland fan?
I think I'm just kind of steadying myself for the probable stick I'll get off the likes of Neil and then everyone else on Saturday if we do lose.
Definitely. And just a quick look at the table as well. So we've got Ipswich and Leicester, first and second on 9 points. Then Norwich, Birmingham, Southampton, Preston on 7 points. Hull and Stoke on 6 points. Watford, Coventry, Plymouth, Blackburn, West Brom and Bristol City all on 4 points. Then 15th, we've got Sunderland. Then 16th, Millwall, QPR, all on 3 points. 18th and 19th, we have Swansea and Leeds on 2 points. 20th and 21st, we have Cardiff and Huddersfield on 1 point. In relegation at the minute, we have Rotherham, Middlesbrough and Sheff Wednesday. Sheff Wednesday at the bottom on 0 points. I would have actually put Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday. I think they were predicted in my relegation. I think they were the ones I had relegated. The other one I weren't sure of. I think I might have had Huddersfield. I know it's early days, but I definitely didn't predict Middlesbrough there anyway.
No,
definitely didn't.
No, but looking at that, they're 2 out of my 3 that'll go down as well, and already in the bottom 3. And as I said before, I mean the league table doesn't matter now. If you're an Ipswich and Leicester fan, you're looking at that going, yeah, you know what I mean, and especially if you're an Ipswich fan, just riding on the crest of a wave. But listen, it really doesn't matter until about 10, 15 games in, and then we'll look at that. We'll look at that in 2 months' time, and I guarantee the majority of that league will have changed. But I don't think the bottom will have done.
100%, completely agree. Should we move on to League One now?
Let's go.
Spent a bit of time, didn't we, on the Championship? So League One, first game, Bolton 0, Wigan 4. What are your thoughts on that one, Claire?
So obviously Bolton were without Dion Charles, who was sent off in midweek, and they were also missing the manager Ian Everett, who was sent off as well during that match. So clearly a pretty bad day for Bolton, wasn't it? Wigan 7 points from 3 so far. Obviously started with a points deduction, and it's never nice to see clubs struggling in that manner. So I've enjoyed seeing them starting quite well. Obviously, Bolton were a lot of people's tip for winning League One, so it's probably a pretty surprise result, to be fair. With obviously a thumping 4-0 win for Wigan. So Charlie White scored the first goal from a corner. Pretty calamitous defending, to be fair, leaving him with a free header middle of the goal. Stephen Humphreys scored to make it 2-0 after the keeper Nathan Baxter had parried Callum Lang's shot. So obviously it just fell to him, luckily, in that position, and he was able to score. You still got to do the important bit, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
Again, really bad defending for the third goal, which was another goal for Humphreys, to make it 3-0. So Bolton are probably going to obviously be disappointed that they couldn't get a goal themselves, but more with the defending. I don't know if you've seen the goals, but the defending was really shocking. So White then rounded things off with his second of the day, and it was enough to get Wigan into plus points to get them up to 2 points. So, yeah.
Do you know what, though? With Wigan, I think they've actually made some really good signings this season. And
yeah, pretty shrewd.
I think they'll have a pretty decent season. I even said this with the points deduction. I think they could have, obviously they have now, but I think they could obviously turn it around, because I think they are better than some of the other teams that are in there. And I think this more that will struggle. But with Wigan, I think they've got a really good team. I mean, Stephen Humphreys obviously used to play for us. Then he he's been to, where did he go last? I think he's actually been at Wigan for a fair few seasons, but went on loan to Hibs. It didn't quite hit the nail on the head there at Hibs, and he struggled. But obviously, he's come back to Wigan now, and he's scoring goals. As I mentioned, Charlie White as well. There's some really good players, I think, for them who could really get them pushing on. I'm not going to say they're going to get promoted, but I think they could be top half of the table.
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't think they'll struggle.
I think it was very quick for them to get out the minus as soon as they could. They've done it within 3 games. So really good for them. And I'm just buzzing for Charlie White, a former Sunderland lad. And, obviously it's been well documented that, he pretty much died on the training pitch, had to get brought back to life. Yeah. And it's good to see him fit, healthy and scoring goals. It's just cool for him. Just very quickly, Lisa had put in the chat before what year Sunderland last win the FA Cup. It was 1973. Sorry, I did ignore that before. I do apologise. I was too busy on my eye horse about something. So.
And just from a Bolton perspective as well, do you think it's just a blip? Do you think, obviously, next game they'll get results again? Do you think it was just a one-off? Because you usually see it, don't you, with especially teams at the top where they'll do well, they'll go on a run, and then they'll just have an off day. Do you think it is just an off day for Bolton?
It happens, doesn't it? It does happen.
And it's not just Bolton being at the top and Wigan being where they are. It's a local derby as well.
Exactly.
So it's normal rules out the window, So yeah, I don't think it'll be a struggle for Bolton. I still rate them to go up, to be honest.
100%.
The only thing that worries us about them on Saturday was the defending, as Claire's put out there. But it's 2 or 3 of them goals were massively avoidable, and what Bolton were renowned for last year was how good they were defensively. That the big centre half, and his name just escapes us now, and he was banging goals in as well as defending them. So I would probably go on record and say I don't think anyone else will beat Bolton 4-1 at all. No. But it is probably a wake-up call. It's also as well, it does happen in League One because that league is just so competitive, and there's so many teams that are wanting to go up this year that you probably will see some of these surprise results. So it's nothing to take away from Bolton. Have still had a good start to the season. They'll be all right.
Yeah, completely agree. And a team I'm really shocked about as well, because obviously I tipped them to be right up there, especially after the opening day. But Barnsley 1, Oxford 3. I was not expecting that result. But what's going on with Barnsley? Did any of us expect this result and a bad start from them, especially after seeing them pump Port Vale 7-0?
Yeah, I think that
Crazy.
the look at it is don't go off the first. We said it, didn't we? We said don't go off the
Exactly.
first week of the season. You know what I mean? It is strange because Barnsley, I think we're pretty much I think when we did our predictions pod, I think we all had them to go up, didn't we? And it's just what happens. It is a strange one. It is a strange one, Charlotte. Yeah, but Oxford.
I think they might struggle, this season, and I don't know why. Again, gut feeling really. I don't know. I can't put my finger on why I think it. Just I don't think. I rate them about mid-table.
I think Up the Ducks has got that spawn. It's our own kit. it's absolutely horrible.
It looks like Kurt Angle, doesn't it? Like WWE Kurt Angle. But from a neutral's perspective and what I've seen, the game looked pretty even. Both teams had chances. The first half, Barnsley actually looked the more like dangerous team, despite them giving a penalty away. But obviously that doesn't help them. That was in the 8th minute, and Cameron Brannigan, it was, who converted the penalty. In the second half, obviously, it went from bad to worse for Barnsley. Jordan Williams scored an own goal. So give away a penalty, score an own goal. You know it's not your day then, don't you? And then obviously that secured the lead for Oxford. Fortunately then, Barnsley fans has something to cheer about when Devante Cole, he's the man, isn't he? If someone's going to score for Barnsley, it's going to be Devante Cole, isn't it? Top player. He scored on the 70th minute, so a little bit of hope then for Barnsley fans. But then Tyler Goodham made it a third for the visitors. So yeah, in the end of the day, pretty easy win for Oxford, but and a good away win as well. Especially going to Oakwell. It's not the easiest place to go to, is it?
Not at all. But we've got a comment there actually from Baron Like Behaviour saying that he thinks Oxford might surprise a few people. I really agree with that. I think they've done relatively well in the transfer window, and I just think last year was just one of those seasons for them. They've been there or thereabouts in the last 4 seasons, bar obviously last year. That they were very unlucky not to make the playoffs one year. I think they kind of bottled it the last couple of seasons, but they're very well run, well maintained club. They'll be okay. They'll shock a lot of teams this year.
Ruben Rodriguez from Notts County is one of the best players I saw in the National League when we were down there. So I think it's a bit of a step up. He's gone up 2 leagues essentially, but I think he will absolutely smash it and improve them a lot.
Definitely good player, really good player. I just want to answer this comment as well because I just had to blow. Oh no, not that one. Where's it gone? This one. I'm not over my cold. I think it's hay fever, to be honest. So that's why I'm blowing my nose. So I do apologise to anyone when I do get my tissue out. It's not a good look, I know, but I can't help it. Sorry, guys. But obviously, the next game we were going to preview as well, Charlton 2, Port Vale 3. And last week's episode, Graham actually called this one. Obviously, being a Charlton fan, he said Port Vale haven't won. I think it's away in, I can't remember how many games it was. So he said, definitely they will get that result. Port Vale will get a result at Charlton. And he was right. What's your thoughts on this game, man? Was you expecting it?
I feel sorry for Graham just for having Charlie Methven anywhere close to his club. Obviously being a fan of a team who also had him and the other chancer at the club, I feel Graham's pain. I actually, I know, Sunderland Charlton go way back, obviously 97 in the playoff final, and obviously in the playoff final a few years ago where unfortunately Charlton won them both and left me in tears as a child and as a grown adult. So, but listen, Charlton, another one of them clubs said about Birmingham before, sleeping giant, and they just need the right people in place to take them back up. But Port Vale hadn't started the season brilliantly. Obviously, they were the unfortunate beneficiaries of the 7-0, weren't they? Against Barnsley, I think. Yeah, it was them. But yeah, for them to win that one, obviously they went 1-0 down. Alfie May scoring first for Charlton. That was his first goal. I thought he would get a couple more before then, but he's off and running now, which I think he'll score a few goals for me, even though I think Charlton are struggling at the moment. But then James Wilson, former Man United man, he scored, and can't remember who got the one. I think it was Chislett, wasn't it? Ethan Chislett, who
it was.
I quite like him. I think he's a decent player. I think he's a good player for Vale. And then obviously, Charlton equalised. Daniel Kanu scoring with a lovely little header. If anyone's seen that one, it's a great little finish. But they lose again, and Port Vale hadn't won in 12 games. Ojo scoring the winner. Massive scenes in the away end. Like I say, for Charlton fans, I do worry for them. I know they had such a good cup run, didn't they? They were playing Man United a couple of years ago, and I like Dean Holden as a manager,
Yeah.
but the hands are tied, because what's going to happen is the club's going to be run on a shoestring. More than likely the youth team, the assets will get stripped and everything like that. Exactly what happened here. And I really do fear for it. And I'm not just saying this because I've got, a previous experience of Methven and everything like that. I just don't think it should be anywhere near a football club. He nearly ruined one, and I really don't want him to send Charlton in the same direction, to be honest. And as Graham said there, schoolboy defending. You can't really blame the owners for that, I must admit. That does come down to management and the players and everything like that. But it just seems like it's a club that are just, again, a little bit depressed, and hoping they can turn it around, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. It's not nice to see, because I remember Charlton, obviously, when they're in the Premier League and stuff, and I feel like it's just got worse and worse for them, hasn't it? And obviously, speaking to Graham and speaking to him on Twitter as well, it's not looking promising at the minute for him, isn't it? And I think they will really struggle this season. I really do.
Yeah, and then the issue is and the problem is when you have owners like this, and I'm not just, again, this is at other clubs as well, Charlotte, you've had the same experience.
Yeah, definitely.
What owners do when things aren't going well, what happens? The manager gets sacked. It's the manager who takes the book. And to be fair with Holden is a good manager. And what would probably happen is, he might end up losing his job. You end up getting, someone else in who might not be at the caliber, and then it just all goes downhill. We had that at Sunderland. Obviously, we had Jack Ross to begin with. Jack Ross never got us up, which was the whole kind of gamble what Donald and Methven were going to do to get us up in the first time of asking, get some money in, and then it didn't work. So what happened was Jack Ross got sacked. We got Phil Parkinson after that.
Yeah.
The less said about Phil Parkinson, the better, because he was dreadful. And then, we got him on performance relying data or something or other like that. And it was a choice between him and Gareth Ainsworth. So, it's kind of asking, how would you want to be? It's just mad. I wouldn't want any of them. You know what I mean? This is a big club, and Charlton are a big club. And then we end up getting rid of Parkinson and getting Lee Johnson in, and what's Lee Johnson done? Not much, and eventually, when they've kind of eventually sold the club, thank God, and got rid of their assets and everything like that, we got Alex Neil in, who took us out of League One. With Charlton, I would hope to see that they've learned their lessons from what they were doing under Sunderland, and I don't think that they have. Again, I'm so sorry, Charlton fans, because I really, really do like the club. But fingers crossed they can turn it around, and I really do hope they stick with Dean Holden, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so too.
Sometimes I have to wonder how some of the owners actually manage to own a football club.
Yeah, the like kind of fit and proper persons test, and I'm saying that like that for the EFL is absolutely shocking. It's shambolic.
Yeah, it is.
It really needs looking at.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's happening a lot, isn't it? Obviously, it's a joke. It's like the Southend situation as well. Obviously, we'll speak about that a bit more when we get to the National League, but it's really sad to see. And you just think of the fans as well. And at the end of the day, it's our lives, isn't it, football? Yeah. We live and breathe football and our specific teams. And for these people to maybe not have a club and obviously watch their club go downhill, it's not fair, is it? It really isn't fair.
No, you're right. I mean, obviously we've got Clare here. Clare's probably witnessed all that at Stockport, and then luckily enough, Stockport are finding their way back now. And the problem
we've got a really, really good owner now, but
and the problem being is not all clubs are as lucky. You know what I mean? Like, we were fortunate enough that at the minute now we've got an owner who seems to have the club at heart, has taken to the club, but that doesn't always happen. And
and it's not always about someone coming in with absolutely tons of money. You know, it's not all about money. Obviously, it helps, and you need quite a substantial amount, but it's about the business as well. Because whilst we are fans, obviously it is a business. And I think a lot of people just say, oh, you know, we've got a really rich owner, we're wadded, we're going to do this, this and this. Well, actually, the owners want to make a bit of money out of it. And you should never invest, in my opinion, in a football club to make money. Ever.
No, totally agree.
I agree with this comment as well. We do need an owner ASAP. Definitely bring that one up.
I hope you get a good one and all.
I really hope so. That's what you need, isn't it? It's finding the right person, because there's so many people who can take over a football club, but it's just finding that one good person. Obviously, we'll speak about them a bit more when we get to League Two, but Gillingham, for instance, their owner at the minute, and what he's doing, not just for the football club, but the community as well and stuff. That's the kind of owner you kind of want, isn't it?
Definitely. Mind, I will say it on this, every week I'm on this pod, if we do mention Gillingham and having a great owner, sort that scaffolding out.
I know.
Oh my God.
So uncomfortable.
It started raining when we were there last season.
Oh no.
Luckily not for very long, but I was like, the first time I went there, I was about 19, hungover. At the top as well, when that had not been shut for safety concerns, and we're walking down, like shaking, me and my friend holding on to each other, turn around, there's a huge queue behind us, everyone getting really annoyed.
Have you ever been, Shah? Have you ever witnessed the kind of hell that is?
I have been, and it was the playoff semi-final as well, and we lost, so it was even worse.
I love that comment, Meccano FC.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, there's a lot of love for the Gillingham as well. No,
oh my God, I hate Gillingham. There we go.
I know.
It's only because we never beat him. Literally never ever beat him.
I know. I'm just jealous as well, because obviously last season, like this time last season, they were like where we are kind of now, but they got the takeover, we didn't, and obviously they've got through it. So as much as it does pain me, I do have a lot of people who I speak to who are Gillingham fans, and it is nice to see them, because they've had a few tough seasons as well, haven't they?
No, sod him.
I'm being nice. But rest of the results from League One. So we've already spoke about the Bolton game. We spoke about the Barnsley one. Blackpool 0, Leyton Orient 0. Good point, to be fair, I think, for Leyton Orient. Blackpool's quite a hard ground to go to, and Leyton Orient aren't doing so well at the minute, have they? Just come
It was rubbish game of the weekend, though, wasn't it? It was boring.
100%. Obviously, Cambridge 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Were we expecting that one?
No,
I
thought Bristol Rovers would win that one. I thought Cambridge were one of my teams to go down, but I just think Bristol Rovers, I know Bristol Rovers fans like Joey Barton, but I think that's why they're hamstrung, as they've just got that moron in charge, to be honest.
I think Cambridge are going to surprise a few people this season. Again, it's just a hunch, but they've signed a couple of good players. What's his face? Oh, I know they signed Elliot Kachunga from Bolton, and there was someone else as well that I thought it was a really strange move, and I can't remember who it was, but I remember thinking he'll improve him. So whoever it is that I can't remember, I think he'll do well.
It's a good player,
though.
Yeah. Carlisle 0, Exeter 2. It's one of them. I think Carlisle will be one of them weird teams. I don't know if they'll be in a relegation battle or not, but I don't think they'll do too much.
No, I think you're right there.
Weird, yeah. Just have a weird season.
I think Carlisle are going to come straight back down.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. And it's not sour grapes are beating us at Wembley. It really isn't. Not
even a little bit.
Not even, honestly, when we got beat, I was fine immediately at the end. But I reckon Carlisle will go back down. I really do.
Yeah, massive. I think Graham's just commenting about a massive trip for Exeter as well. I mean, fair play to every fan who's gone there, and thank God that they've got a victory. You can imagine getting hammered there 5-0 or something like that, and having to drive all the way back down there. I mean, that is a trek. That's a fair play to all those Exeter fans who went there and braved that. But fair play, the one so very good. Very
Completely agree. Derby County 1, Fleetwood 0. I were expecting this. I think Derby County 1, Fleetwood 0. I think Fleetwood will struggle this season. They're one of my favourites to go down, to be honest. Derby though, I don't know what to expect with Derby.
I think they'll be up there.
Yeah. Again, they probably need to be doing a little bit better, and I would imagine Paul Warren's under pressure already, but I think they'll turn it. They didn't start very well, but I think they will turn it.
Yeah. Northampton 1, Peterborough 0. I did not expect this result at all. Peterborough have been on a bit of a roll recently, haven't they, in scoring goals? Northampton have been struggling a little bit, but fair play to them. 1-0.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had Peterborough up there and also Northampton to struggle. So what do I know?
I had Peterborough to struggle. Because I saw that they had some money issues, but I don't think anything's come of it. So I don't know if it's just a fake article I've read.
Maybe.
I probably know it, knowing me. I probably just dreamt it.
I did hear there was something had happened with the money, and I know Darren McCanty does a podcast, doesn't he? But I don't really listen to it because he's got a bit of a strange attitude about pretty much everything. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact Northampton beat them, though. I've got a lot of time for Northampton for some reason or another, and you know, a couple of the fans' podcasts that I do are very, very good. So
yeah, they're a nice little club, to be fair.
Yeah, they are, of course. Yeah.
Completely agree. Portsmouth 0, Cheltenham 0. Claire, you told me a bunch of events happened, and for a 0-0 draw, you wouldn't think it, but what happened?
I know. Well, the football's not the talking point of this one, is it? So during the first half, the linesman was injured. So he swapped places with the fourth official and ran the line. All fair and well. Got to half time, no problem. They came out for the second half, and he got a calf strain, so he had to go off as well. He couldn't continue. So a tannoy announcement goes out asking, is there anyone in the crowd that is qualified to come and help us, because we really need someone to come and run the line for us. At that point, the managers are like, well, this is going to get called off in it. No one's gonna come in and take this opportunity. Step forward Julian Browning, who had a really nice preparation on Friday night, curry and 4 pints with his mates. He put his head down and he's like, no, not for me, mate. And his mates are like, come on, you're the way that this match is going to continue. So eventually, after a bit of encouragement, down comes Julian Browning. He gets given a kit. There's some spare striking gold boots that he can put on, and magically in his foot size. And so he comes on. He's a Portsmouth fan of 50 years. So he was like, I haven't been on this pitch since 78 when I was playing in a cup final for my school. So you know what? Let's do it. Let's try it. Cheltenham manager agreed. Said, you know, at least the game's going to be on, and maybe the curry and the pints was a nice preparation meal for it. The referee gives him a Messiah salute when he came on. Cheltenham manager says, you know what? This guy's the best official we've seen all season. He was amazing. The game ends 0-0. You know, it's boring, but there is 21 minutes of injury time in the second half. So, you know, he had his fair share of the game to come and referee. But yeah, what about that?
It just opens up so many questions for me. I mean, like, it's just, I mean, it's great to see. I mean, luckily enough, he didn't have the 4 pints and the curry an hour before the game, which what most fans probably would have done. But like, how did they know he was license? Like, did they check? Like,
They
how do
must
you?
check. They've got to have checked. The same thing, funnily enough, happened to us a few years back. We were playing Gloucester away, when they played at Cheltenham, and on Cheltenham's pitch right near the end, there's a bit that's oh yeah, Cheltenham. You know what? I didn't even twig on that, but obviously it wasn't Cheltenham. It was just at Cheltenham. The liner like fell on his ankle. He went down like a sack of spuds. And yeah, he had to go off. Someone that was visiting his father-in-law was at the match, wasn't a fan of either team. He came on and ran the line, did a great job there as well. It's one of those things you think you'll never see, but quality.
It's every fan's dream, though, isn't it? I mean,
I
if that
know.
ever got announced at the stadium,
You
like,
know
I would
what?
do it. I'd be like, yeah,
this
whatever.
50-year-old is going to turn around to his grandkids and be like,
Yeah.
look what happened. He's got a memory forever. Hopefully the club will do something nice for him because, you know, he's got the game continuing, really. They don't have to restart it again.
I will say it's a little kind of hint for all those little boys and girls who want to grow up to be referees. Make sure you warm up before you go on the pitch.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's really made me do that.
It's just funny.
Yeah. It's like
I love that.
It's like you could have kind of what kind of makes it more hilarious, really. Is you kind of understand this would happen in like what Claire said before, like a non-league game. This anyway, this is League One. This is like Fratton Park, you know, an ex-Premier League football club who are having to go on to a tannoy and announce, "Can someone come and run the line, please, without a reps?" It's just
like the panic, everything that goes through your mind, especially when you're an away fan and you're like, for fuck's sake, oh sorry, I've travelled all the way to this match and I have to go home and come back again, but you know this guy saved the day. So Julian Browning, cheers, mate, you did it.
What a lad.
It's like, imagine if it did get called off, though. What reason would they give? You normally give, waterlogged pitch, thunder or whatever like that, or
unfit
officials.
Goodness me.
That honestly is made my day. That's
Mad.
Absolute quality.
Mad.
I'm actually gutted now that we're talking football because that was quality. That was funny. But the next game was Reading 2, Stevenage 1. Stevenage have been on a bit of a roll as well, haven't they? So with this one, I didn't really know what to expect.
I think Reading were expected to struggle as well, given their off-field issues. And actually, they've started pretty well, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely. Stevenage as well. I actually predicted him. I think in our preview show, I said they'd do all right this season. A lot of people were saying they weren't really sure, but I think they've actually signed some good additions and some good League One players as well. Steve Evans is obviously a decent manager as well.
Even if he's a bit of an idiot.
Yeah. We won't go into that, but that's a whole different podcast, isn't it? Shrewsbury 0, Lincoln City 1. I didn't know what to expect of that game, to be honest. It could have gone either way. They're both them teams, aren't they? It could have gone either way. And obviously, Wycombe 0, Burton Albion 0. Claire, I'm going to let you have your say now. We're on League 2. You got your first, was it your first win of the season?
First win of the season,
First win of the season. Let's talk Stockport.
What a frustrating start to the season we've had. You know what? We were pretty sure we'd get beat first game of the season because we never beat Gillingham. Actually, we had 67% possession that day. We had something stupid, like, a lot of crosses. But we could have played for a week and we wouldn't have scored in that game. Gillingham scored a really good goal. But ever since, we've been battering teams in terms of possession, getting loads of crosses. There was one game we had 41 crosses and 6 of them were successful. There's our issue. You know, we're missing Kyle Wootton, who is been out since March. He should be back in the next 5 weeks. So it says to me that we do need to strengthen the squad a bit more. But Saturday we had Barrow. Again, we don't like beating Barrow. In fact, in a Football League game, probably doesn't count too much because we were missing for 11 years. we hadn't beaten them since the 70s in a Football League match. So again, we didn't really expect to win. We controlled possession again. We had, our fair share of chances, but it just looked to be one of them games yet again where we were bossing it and we just could not finish. We had no end product. Kyle Noyle made a really bad challenge, studs in the face of Courtney Duffus.
I saw the
His
picture of
nose
that.
was
That was
torn.
awful.
Yeah, his nose was literally torn. He got a yellow card somehow. But it was that bad that at half time there was people scrubbing his blood off the pitch. It was awful. Yeah, it was really bad. Probably about 30 seconds after the restart, Louis Barry breaks free, gets a one-on-one with a keeper. No, that's a lie. Is one-on-one with a defender. And the defender clips him, brings him down in the penalty area as he's about to take his shot. Nailed on penalty, not given, would have been a red card for denying a goal scoring opportunity. At that point, I kind of thought, you know what, everyone in the ground knows that Kyle Noyle should have been sent off. There's no, there's no two ways about it. No one thought he should have stayed on. But we kind of thought maybe the refs or the officials are evening it up. Anyway, what will be will be. Louis Barry then manages to get a very lucky goal, courtesy of a massive deflection. We go 1-0 up and hold on to the lead. So we won 1-0. I kind of now I'm wondering, hoping, praying, begging for that to be the boost that we need. We've spent a lot of money on the squad, the infrastructure. We've got a training ground that's a Premier League facility. It's not. We're doing all the right things off the pitch, so you kind of wonder what is going on. Some players were arguing with themselves on Saturday on the pitch. Now, I like that because to me it shows passion, but I see the other side. My best friend Hannah, she said, no, actually they need to channel that passion in a different way. That's not good, which I can understand, obviously. We are very chalk and cheese with our opinions on football, to be fair. But it was a long overdue win. I can't believe it's only 4 league games in and I'm saying that, but it's just been really frustrating start to this season, especially given the fact that really given the investment, we should be up there.
You did have a slow start though, didn't you, last season? Obviously.
I think, and obviously I'll talk in a bit more detail about it when I talk about Wrexham as well, but I think there was potentially a little bit of a complacency where we kind of didn't expect, because everybody says the difference between League Two and the National League is like this, and there's not really a big step up, but actually it's more of a step up than you think. Teams are much more clinical on the whole. Teams do tend to defend a bit better. You can't sort of give as much opportunity. I'm so sorry if you can hear my dog whinging.
Oh no, it's fine, don't worry.
Laying next to me whinging.
I'm trying to slap a fly. There's a fly and it's doing my head in. I'm like, so I'm not dancing. I've not got a twitch. So sorry, everyone.
We did have a slow start, and we kind of were like, you know what, it's the county thing. We always have a slow start. When we went up from the National League, we had a slow start. Okay, week 10. Yeah, that's true. We did have more points than anyone from week 10 onwards. Last season, what really, really hit us was we were getting red cards left, right, and centre. I think we got something stupid like 5 or 6 red cards in 10 games. So it was absolutely ridiculous, and it was stupid stuff. Some of them weren't red cards, but you know what, that happens for everyone, so you can't really grumble at that. And I do prefer the mistakes to this stupid VAR nonsense. What I will say, and I'm so sorry that I'm going to go on a proper rant, what is it with short corners? Oh my God. Stop doing
I
short
agree with
corners.
that.
Please send this to Dave Challoner and tell him to stop it. I'll beg you. I'll bloody do anything you want if you stop with these short corners. Oh my God, they're so frustrating. If you put it in the box and it doesn't go to anyone's head, you know what? Fair enough. There's a load of people competing for that. Put a bit of pressure on the keeper and you're absolutely fine. But the amount of times we take a short corner, lose possession, and then we're short on players, tracking back, and oh,
We'll clip this, and we'll tag Stockport County in it.
You know what? It's maybe an interesting question to ask the chat here. Have you ever remembered your team scoring from a short corner? Because it does not happen. It
We
doesn't.
don't score from a corner. Never mind a short one.
We don't get corners.
do you know what? Especially like on Saturday, Barrow were a really, really, really tall team.
Yeah.
Like a really tall team. And there was only, from what I can remember, Fraser Horsfall that matched them for height. And we're doing these short corners and prancing around. And I can kind of see a logic that actually you're probably not going to win, you know, a header against these players. But you need to bloody move and break away from your man. You need to put pressure on the keeper. Just need to bloody stop taking short corners. They should be banned.
I think it's just going in the chat there. The only thing that is more frustrating, that's not beating the first man. I mean, you train like every week, every day on corners, and you know it happens so often that you know.
I think everyone scored past Rochdale last season, Isaac. Oh my God, Dan has just given me a throwback. Danny Lloyd's short corner thing shot. Do you know what? That was so annoying. It was in the FA Trophy and it was like an 89th minute equaliser, and it meant we had to go to Brackley midweek for a replay to only get beat 3-1 by them, and then we had to go the Tuesday after for the league.
Danny Lloyd, man.
Danny Lloyd.
How dare
you know what? I stood up and I was clapping because the goal was that good, but at the same time, I'm like, no!
Why did you do that? Oh, funny. If you got a weekend anyway.
So we're away at Mansfield on Saturday.
What are you expecting? Do you think you
it's
can
a tricky
win?
one. It's a tricky one. I'm hoping that we got our season on track with the win on Saturday, whatever way it happened. I like to think that we've got the ability to go and get a win again on Saturday. I'm a very, very optimistic person, so I'm going to say we're going to win. I'll go with it. I'm not giving it anything further than that.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. We don't have to do like scores and everything. But yeah, I hope you win anyway, and I hope this is the start of like a really good season for you. I really do, and that's not me like taking a mick. As I know, obviously we do have a rivalry kind of thing because we're a local team, and obviously when we got relegated and when you got relegated, it's always fans, isn't there? Who are like ha ha and stuff.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I've got nothing bad to say about Stockport, and obviously I did the collection as well. Our old goalkeeper Richard O'Donnell. His friend, his friend's son, obviously was poorly at the time, and we did a collection at Stockport. And your fans were just so generous and they're really nice.
Richard O'Donnell used to play for us as well, so I think a lot of people were like, you know what, we were gutted when he left us. So a lot of people were probably, thinking that. Us and Mansfield have both got a lot of injuries, so it could be, you know, kids for your kids, really.
Expect the unexpected. You don't know what's going to happen.
As long as I have a good day out, I'm not going to let football ruin it.
Oh, love that. But somebody whose day did get ruined. And Morecambe 3, Bradford 0. I actually laughed at this because I thought, Morecambe, I had them down to struggle this season, but they've been doing all right. They've been picking up some points, haven't they? And I've no idea what's going on with Bradford. I
No,
really don't know
same.
what's going on with them.
Same. I thought you meant someone who had a bad day was me because Morecambe won. I've got no problem
Oh,
with Morecambe. They're all right.
Bradford.
Now famous for the Tyson Fury documentary, but we'll carry on. But yeah, Millen scored a couple of goals, didn't he, for Morecambe? And yeah, I agree with you. I thought we were going to struggle losing Cole Stockton, who was pretty much the only person who scored for them last year. But good on them. I mean, that's a right thrashing, isn't it, for Bradford, considering a lot of people had them to go up. But if you look at the game, Morecambe scored all 3 of their shots on target went in. Again, I keep on saying about stats, but if you look at the Bradford stats here, possession 64%, shots 14, shots on target 5, and lost 3-0. So it all that matters is putting the ball in the back. And if you cannot put the ball in the back of the net, it doesn't matter if you have 98% possession because you're still going to lose. But yeah, Bradford's pretty bad day for them. They've only got 4 points from 4 games, so Hughesy straight away I think is under pressure. They want to get out of this league as quickly as possible. They want to be back up in the League One, Championship, or wherever they want to be, and at the minute, it isn't happening for them. And the bother is because there's so many teams who have started well, the likes of MK Dons, Wimbledon, Gillingham. I think we are going to go through a podcast without saying Gills are massive, but we'll try not to. But yeah, they're going to have to get some wins very, very quickly because otherwise they're going to get left behind. And, as we've said before, League Two is such a difficult league to get out of. And, if you get lost so early on, not many teams do a Stockport, do they, where they just, come alive, and it could easily end up being just in mediocrity all season. So I hope they do turn around. But judging by that game, they're definitely having, the possession, they're getting shots in, they're just not able to put the ball in the back of the net. So might be a couple of names going to Bradford in the window, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think Mark Hughes is going to last the season, personally.
I don't.
Not on form like that, is he? He's not on form like that. Do you not think with him though his time is gone? He's one of these managers. I thought when they got him in, I thought that's a bit of a left wing appointment, like where he hasn't had a job for that long.
Yeah, and it's weird as well that he's in League Two, where that's not where his experience is. So he's probably had to learn about League Two pretty sharpish as well. But no, I don't think he's gonna last.
No.
He's got a grizzly face as well. Oh,
yeah,
there we go. Someone's saying this. He has got a grizzly face. Stands there with like a bottom lip out.
He's probably got that lip on because of he was at Man City just when the big takeover happened, and look what's happened to them in the 10, 12 years since he's left.
I agree, Dan. They were boring, weren't they?
Everyone's in agreement about Mark Hughes. But do you not think this happens with a lot of people as well? Just because they've been a big name in the past, they automatically think that they're going to be a big manager and a good manager. And it's happened in the Premier League. Like, people think because like Lampard and Gerrard were such top class players that they're going to be like a brilliant manager. And it doesn't work, does it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I completely agree. Like, I thought it was such a weird appointment for Mark Hughes, especially to Bradford and in League Two. Like, if they were higher, if they were in the Championship or something like that, I could kind of like see it. But I just think Bradford at the minute and the players, like, they're loaning out a lot of players, what the fans aren't happy about. They've sold Adam Clayton to us. I know obviously he's getting older now and he's not really got the legs for League Two. They've loaned out Ryan East to us as well, and he's a player who was at Swindon last season, is with us now, and a lot of the fans weren't happy because they want to see him and they see potential in this player. I think there's been a couple of other players they've loaned out as well, and the fans have been like, why are you doing this kind of thing? So I think there's a lot of uncertainty at the minute with Bradford and obviously Hughes and the squad that he's got now. I really do.
Yeah, definitely.
I just don't know what to make about Bradford, and another team I don't know what to make of as well. Tranmere 3, Salford 4. I honestly thought it would have been Tranmere season last season. I thought, if they're going on the up here, they're quite a big club, obviously, they're going places, but they seem to be getting worse now every season. And obviously, new manager, they've obviously got rid of Mickey Mellon now, and they just threw the lead away in this game. I'd be really, really disappointed if I was a Tranmere fan. Connor Jennings scored in the 6th minute and it gave them an early lead. Matt Smith then equalised for Salford in the 34th minute. 2 minutes later, Tranmere then took the lead again after a Christian Dennis goal. So Neil Wood surely at half-time must have had stern words with Salford because obviously they came back. Out 2 minutes into the half, Callum Hendry scored. So obviously he equalised, which obviously gave them confidence boost because he ended up getting his hat-trick for Salford. So fair play to him. And wasn't the best day for Tranmere, but Charlie Jolly obviously went on and scored for 3rd. But I just really don't know what's going on with Tranmere at the minute. They're just a very weird team. I know Salford are a decent team, but Tranmere...
They don't seem to have... I don't know. The manager wasn't really someone that went down well with their fans because wasn't he like back office and kind of stepped up and they were all like, well, he's a bit of an unknown, but it seemed to sort of do a good job to start off with. Connor Jennings is just pure class.
He is brilliant.
I hope he does well for them. I think I expected Salford to struggle a little bit this season. Because whenever we've played them, they're all right, but they just seem I don't know, to tail off kind of thing. I don't know. But I think Tranmere probably mid to lower mid table, and Salford I would expect to be in the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't.
Just too, like, you'd expect both teams to be doing a lot better, wouldn't you? Like, obviously, Salford, I think it's their time. They have to prove themselves now because they've been in that league for so long. And obviously, I don't think they've been really splashing the cash as much. I think they've relied on a few younger players, like this season, especially now. I think they're going down the route of trying to, like, the academy and utilising them. But just from previous seasons, I think maybe they are under a bit of pressure now from people to go up because you kind of, like, obviously we've seen it in a documentary, we've seen it, obviously, people linked with Manchester United are obviously involved there, and there's just been this big hype about Salford, and it's pretty similar to the Wrexham as well, isn't it? Like,
sort of, but I think at Wrexham you had the infrastructure of a football league club, you've got the ground. If I'm being really honest, and it might come across really harsh, I kind of wonder if Salford have reached a ceiling. Even though they've got all this investment, the fan base isn't growing. They're the cheapest in the league, 15 quid a match, and they still can't sell many tickets. I think they are paying the players quite well. They've got some good players, but they never, ever seem to stick with a manager for long enough. There's no stability. As soon as things don't go their way for a little while, it's, right, let's sack the manager. I thought they had a really good manager in Gary Bowyer, and they didn't give him enough time. But I don't know. I just kind of get the impression that, like, they're getting a bit bored. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in thinking that. Or maybe they're just kind of wanting to run the club more sustainably, which isn't a bad thing. But I think League 2 is a bit above their level for what they are as a club, to be honest. And I'm sorry if that sounds harsh.
No, I completely agree. I just think there was this big hype about them, and then, like, obviously you've said as well, they just don't seem to be growing, like, as a fan base and stuff as well. But it's a weird one, isn't it? Because they kind of had that at first. Everyone kind of jumped on that bandwagon, didn't they? Kind of thing. And I just think to myself, like, where are they now?
I think it might be that they've got bored. They were probably expecting when they came out of the National League they probably expect to go straight up, and it
Yeah.
doesn't happen. You've really got to be special. You know, it's got to be.
Yeah.
It takes something really special
absolutely.
to have
And
like to do like the Lincoln,
before
wasn't it? Lincoln did it a few years ago, and they're probably been the only side that's done that. Fleetwood maybe as well, but even them sides haven't gone on to great things. They're still in like League One. And it just goes to show how difficult that, you know, what Ryan Reynolds and the other guy, I can't remember his name, Rob McElhenney, you think that we're going to be in the Premier League within 10 years. I'm sorry, but it's very, very difficult. Like, and I think that's the same with Salford.
The other thing with Salford, I think when they first took over the United 5 or whatever they're called, the ground was so poor that if anyone was jumping on a bandwagon and coming to see those United players, they could, because there was nowhere they could go. They were always pitch side, you know, watching.
That's true.
I remember going once because my husband got given some free tickets, and I was just stood watching. I think it was Salford were playing Halifax, and it's kind of one of them, you know, it's a Tuesday night, something to do, and I was just chit-chatting to this little lad that was stood next to me, and it was Ryan Giggs' son. I mean, I don't care, you know, I speak to anyone the same. Like, if you're a good person, you're a good person. That's what I judge you on. And he was looking under his nose at me like, why are you talking to my child? And I was like, I'm literally just chit-chatting to this little kid that stood next to me. So I was like, I'm just having a conversation with someone who spoke to me. But now they've had the investment on the ground and they sort of hide away in the boxes. So if people were going to see them, they're not going to see them anymore. So they probably won't go back again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do you think that was like kind of the, you know, the pull, really? Yeah,
absolutely.
Beckham might be there, you know, on the corner flag or something like that, and now that they've invested, it's not going to happen, so they've just we'll go somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm being harsh, but it's just opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with your opinion as well. And yeah, they're a weird one, aren't they, Salford? A really weird one. But another... Go on, sorry, Anne.
I think I've never known a club in like League Two have just been so monumentally disliked by pretty much everyone side. Yeah.
I don't get that, to be honest. I don't dislike them. I think a lot of it's jealousy, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't hate any team really, other than ones that you have a rivalry with. So I don't really understand the hatred. Same with Wrexham. You know, a lot of people hate them and it's jealousy, or maybe to a point with them newer fans that are giving them a bad name. But a lot of it is jealousy, I think.
Definitely. No, I'm completely on board. And leading us into Wrexham, I think this has got to be one of the games of the weekend. I was expecting goals because they're both very attacking teams, but I did not expect a 5-5 draw.
I know.
Claire,
and how could you not discuss a game that's 5-5?
I know.
Imagine going to a game, though, as an away fan, being like so many goals up. Was it 4-1 at half time? Go for it in a minute. But not winning. You score 5 goals away, you'd well be expecting 3 points. But yeah, Jake Young scored a header after 17 minutes to put Swindon 1 up, assisted by Charlie Austin. And then Charlie Austin himself made it 2-0 with a really neat flick. It was a great goal. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was just really cleverly taken. Then Jake Bickerstaff picked up the ball on the touchline, managed to pretty much dance past everyone to make it 2-1, with a really well taken goal, but potentially maybe could have been defended a little bit better. 2 minutes later, Dan Kemp made it 3-1 with a lovely goal really from the edge of the box. It was really well taken, hit very sweetly, and another guy who's a really good player. Young then got his second to make it 4-1. Heading into the break at 4-1 away at Wrexham, you probably, you know, texted everyone, rubbing your hands, thinking, you know what, we've got this wrapped up here. But out come Wrexham doing what Wrexham do. So 2 minutes, not 2 minutes, Ollie Palmer was dragged down at a corner for Wrexham to be given a penalty. The resulting penalty was put away by Elliot Lee. And then James Jones made it 4-3 with a really well taken goal. Game well and truly on at that point, 4-3. Everyone's looking at their phones, checking the scores and like, whoa, what's going on there? But Dan Kemp hit the bar. The game then became a bit like a tennis match, and you sort of end to end wondering what's going to go on. But soon after, he did get another goal and he made it 5-3. So again, probably at that point, the Swindon fans were thinking, whew, at least we've done it now. Surely nothing can go wrong here. But then leaving it late, James Jones got his second of the game, following a really long Tozer throw in the 92nd minute. Probably Wrexham doing what they're doing, playing under the cosh, so they love a late goal, did last season. And so in the 7th minute of injury time, Elliot Lee grabbed his second for them to get a really late point. And it is Wrexham doing what Wrexham do. They love a goal. What I would say about them, a lot of people expected them to really miss Paul Mullin, but it shows that they have got depth in the squad to be able to play without him. So a lot of teams might feel a little bit worried about how they're going to do when he comes back. I think, he'll get straight in the team when he's fit to, because he is a good player. Having said that, he's probably had one good season in the Football League. So it's probably one to watch out for. Wrexham do create a lot of chances and he does fit their style of play. So I do expect him to have a good season when he's fit. One person I'm not sure of for them, and I'm sorry to any Wrexham fans that are listening, is I'm really not convinced with Tozer. Tozer's got a great throw on him, and in that case, is an asset because they score a lot of goals through his long throws. But as a defender, I don't think he's very good. I think they probably need to be a little bit more concerned with their defence, to be quite honest with you. They are quite solid. I think, maybe they need another couple of people in to strengthen. Obviously, following the game, Ben Foster realised that he's probably not got it anymore and retired. But what a great career he's had, bless him. But, you have to mention Swindon, and they will feel aggrieved to not have got the win after scoring 5 goals away from home, throwing away such a good lead. But it does show the threat that Wrexham possess to the rest of us.
Yeah, definitely. Nick as well, bless him. He said in the chat, didn't he? I was asking, I was like, is anyone free for this week? He was like, I've not got the mental energy to talk about the 5-5 draw, bless him. So I do feel sorry for Nick. But yeah, both teams defending wise. I know Wrexham as well have got Owen O'Connell at the back, who used to play for us, and he seems he struggled a bit for us in the position that he kind of played with us in a kind of football, and I think he's struggling there. But even in the National League last season, they were scoring goals, Wrexham, but they were also leaking them, weren't they? I think the defence is a problem.
I think they need to be wary of that this season because,
completely.
As I said with us in our start last season, I think that maybe they have been a little bit complacent. Their fans probably won't agree, and maybe I'm wrong as an outsider. But I think maybe they didn't quite expect the league to be as it is. I think it's probably the toughest league too that it's been for a while as well. Parkinson is experienced, he knows what to do at this level, so I'm sure they'll turn it around, and I do expect Wrexham to be up there. I think in the summer, Swindon probably left it quite late to sign
They did.
players, and a lot of people thought they'd struggle, but the players that they did bring in do seem to have improved them. So I think they'll be up there as well.
Yeah, you can never not with Charlie Austin as well. Like, obviously, last season there was a lot of pressure on him to obviously score goals and stuff. He didn't score as many as people were expecting, or as Swindon fans were expecting.
I don't think he was very good though. Like, I know,
No.
I mean, you probably can't say the same because he
He
scored
scored 4
against
against
didn't he?
us.
But let's be honest,
Brilliant.
you know what? Rochdale of last
I
season,
could
you
have.
know, it's what it is. Like, but when we played them, I didn't rate him. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, it probably wasn't a game to see him at his full potential because I'm pretty sure their red card was about 5 minutes in or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I don't know. There's just something about him. And again, it's just me with my opinions, but there's just something about him that I look at him and I just think, oh mate, you just think you're better than you are. Like, cool it off, get a grip, sort yourself out. You're not massive, you're in League Two.
Yeah, and you've only scored 4 against Rochdale. Anyone can do that.
Well, we couldn't.
I know, but yeah, I think that's definitely our game of the weekend, especially in League Two. But I'd say overall, because there's been some good games, but that was just an absolute goal fest, wasn't it? But looking to the other fixtures, if I can get the right slide on. League Two. So Accrington 2, Harrogate Town 1. I was expecting this, to be honest. I know Harrogate have picked up a few points, but Accrington are at home. I don't think Harrogate will do too well this season. They've had a decent start, but
I hope they start. The travel's back down now.
Yeah, I think they will. I actually think they'll be in a relegation battle this season.
Yeah,
Harrogate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Colchester 2, MK Dons 3. Not a great start for Colchester at all, but MK Dons, they're doing well, aren't they? They were one of mine, to be fair, though, to do pretty well. I think they'll be up there. Yeah,
absolutely
definitely.
flying. Yeah,
they've got some really good strikers there. I think Colchester, by contrast, are going to struggle.
Completely agree. For a away team as well, Colchester, I find them where they'll have a slow start, and then in January, that's when they kind of do the business. Colchester, they've done it a few seasons now, and then they tend to pick up a bit. Crawley 0, Gillingham 1. I'm not going on about Gillingham.
I'm not saying the words.
We're not saying it. No, we're going to disappoint him.
To be fair, they are flying, but I think
are flying.
Crawley are my bet for bottom of the league, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I know they've started pretty well, but I still don't rate their chances.
It's a long season, isn't it? A very long season.
Didn't their manager have a go at the press over the weekend? Like, something about where you all expect us to go down there, but it was so prickly by him. It's like, right, if already it's starting to eke in.
It was the real EFL that he was having a dig at, and there's a bit of history, I think, between someone that's on the podcast and Crawley. So I don't know if it was a little bit of a dig that way. I might be completely wrong, but it seemed a bit like throwing his toys out the pram, didn't it?
Yeah, if that's happening so early on and they've actually started relatively well, then it's not boding well, is it?
Yeah, not a good sign at all. Crewe Alexandra 2, Walsall 2. Could have gone either way, in my opinion, that game. Doncaster 1, Notts County 3. What is happening to Doncaster? I mean...
I think that it's a case of them signing, because they've signed so many new players, and Rome wasn't built in a day. I do think Doncaster will come good, and I think it is a case of the players just not sort of being gelled together yet.
Yeah.
Notts County, I'm a bit surprised by, because whilst they do have the ability to score a lot of goals, I thought that they'd struggle with defending. Well, they have done a bit, to be fair, but not that much.
Forest Green 0, Newport County 3.
Newport
Forest
are
Green.
flying, aren't they?
They are. They're scoring goals as well. A lot of goals.
Yeah.
Didn't their fans on our prediction pod? They were really worried about the season, weren't they? I think
Yeah, they were.
A lot of them had them to go down, didn't they? And they seem to have just started the season off really well. So fair play to them, really. And hopefully, some of them fans have changed their mind a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. What's the thoughts on Forest Green as well, though? Do you reckon they'll struggle? Do you think they'll be just one of them floating teams?
A proper non-league team to me,
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, that's probably harsh to all the fans, but to me, they just seem like a non-league club. So
Haven't they signed Troy Deeney as well?
I know.
yeah, they play assistant manager, isn't it?
Yeah.
He'll soon be the manager, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course he will. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be by the end of the season. He'll be the manager there. But
100%.
I think we mentioned about Salford, didn't we, before? Like the ceiling's been reached. I think the ceiling's been more than reached at Forest Green. I think in the next few years it might be that they revisit the National League, I think.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Grimsby 1, Mansfield 1. I think that's a good point for both teams, to be honest, because I think Grimsby are doing very decent. They've signed some good players as well, Grimsby.
Yeah.
I think they'll have a good season. Morecambe 3, Bradford 0, we spoke about. Stockport 1, Barrow. We spoke about Sutton United 0, AFC Wimbledon 3. They're doing all right as well, aren't they, AFC Wimbledon at the minute?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, starting well.
Doing decent.
Well.
I think they signed a few good players. They've got oh my God, what's his name? We've loaned him a player, and I'm sure a county fan will pop up in the comments and remind me his name because I really can't remember his name. Jimmy Ball's gone there. Someone who I don't know if you rate him as a Rochdale fan. I think he's such a lovely guy. He's a great person, and he's got so much potential. So if things are going well, then I think he's a confidence player, and I think he will do well himself. But they had a pretty, strong squad, really, mid-table squad. So they've improved it. I'm not surprised they're doing well.
I think they'll do all right this season. I really do.
I think Sutton will be probably mid-table. So
I was gonna say one of them teams. I don't think they'll be struggling. I don't think they'll be up there, kind of thing. I think they'll just get by. And fair play to them as well, because they've kind of found the feet, haven't they, in League Two? They've had a couple of really good seasons. Yeah,
definitely.
Top of the table, let's have a look at this. And I'm not saying those words Scoops will want me to say, but Gillingham are top on 12 points.
It's good for such a little club to be at the top, isn't it?
I'm going to clip that. I'm going to make sure that bit gets clipped for him. A bit of not down to reality. In second place, we've got MK Dons on 9 points. Third place, AFC Wimbledon on 8 points. On 7 points, we have got Accrington, Salford, Morecambe, Barrow, Crawley and Notts County. 6 points, we have got Mansfield in 10th place. We have got Crewe, Newport. 13th place, we have got Swindon on 5 points. And Grimsby, Wrexham are on the same. 16th, we have got Stockport on 4 points, Walsall just below them, and Bradford on the same points. On 3 points, we have Tranmere, Sutton, Harrogate, Forest Green, and then we have Doncaster on 1 point, and sitting at the bottom, we have Colchester. Was that meant to be that one? We'll just leave this slide up. We'll kind of fly through the National League now, because I think we've been on quite a bit, haven't we?
You just want to talk about Rochdale, don't you?
Come on, tell us about that win.
Yeah.
Right, actually, I will speak about Rochdale first. But I can't actually complain about anything. We had a really good game. We played some really good football. Our defending, just everything about that day, we played really well. Ian Henderson, obviously, scoring in the National League. I think he'll be vital for us. I know he's getting older now, so we can't play every game, but he's definitely someone who can be an impact sub as well off the bench. If anyone's going to score, it's Ian Henderson, especially for us. So he put us 1-0 up. And I don't know if any of you have seen it. Cairo Mitchell's second goal. It was a rocket. It was honestly a peach. But the best thing about this was no one saw the we obviously saw the goal, but then we saw a replay because obviously with National League, you have to wait, don't you, for like the highlights and stuff to go on. So obviously we couldn't see the goal again. So someone had recorded it from the stands, and all you see is us playing football, and the ball goes to Cairo Mitchell, and he's like, no one wants it, just shoot. Anyway, he shot, and obviously it went in. It was so comical.
Do you know what I liked on the highlights as well? The commentator made a comment about someone who had been at Rochdale for such a long time, putting Rochdale 1-0 up, and then like someone that could be the future of the club scoring the second, and it was just a really nice analogy.
Oh, honestly, like, it sounds mad because obviously looking back now and you think, oh no, National League, like it's completely new for us. But it's not as bad as people are making out, because obviously it's not nice being there. You do want to be in a football league, but we're actually winning games and we're actually looking decent. And
I think you'll do well this season in that league. I think it's so difficult to come up because there is only the one automatic place, and then the next one's through the playoffs, which is just a lottery, isn't it? But I think you'll do all right.
Honestly, I just feel so positive that we're actually winning games, because it was so annoying, especially like last season, where every week it's like you're losing and then you get the odd win and that little bit of hope and stuff. But it's just completely different now. Obviously, new teams to play, obviously new grounds to go to, new manager in Jim McNulty, and as much as obviously at first I was like, oh, why Jim McNulty? We've got the cheap option. We need someone who's well established in the National League. But then when I looked at the bigger picture, I think, well, at least with Jim McNulty, someone who we've not had for a few seasons, he actually genuinely cares for the club. He knows the club inside and out. We've not got the money that obviously other clubs have got in this league, because there is still money involved in the National League. But I think he's more than capable to get the players and to find the players for our budget. And obviously it's only very early on, but in the games that we've lost as well, because we've won 2, we've lost 2, but them games we were our own worst enemy. We could have easily won them games, and it was just like little things we were lacking. It was our defending again. But honestly, like, just from watching these first 4 games, it's just been a pleasure to watch compared to last season. So
and the conference, I call it the conference still most of the time. It's not that bad. It's when you go further down to the Conference North, that's where it's really bad.
Yeah. I'm hoping things don't get that bad.
No, I think you'll be up there this season. I really do.
I'd be more than happy with just a top half finish, or just stabilising kind of thing. Or if we got in the playoffs, that'd be brilliant kind of thing. Yeah. But
do you know what it is? I think after you get relegated, sometimes you just kind of need that season of stability, kind of lose that losing mentality, and then go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Completely agree. So yeah, just looking at the other results, obviously we had Chesterfield 1, Oldham 1, Aldershot 1, York City 1. York City have spent quite a bit of money, signed some decent players, but they're really struggling at the minute, York. I'm really shocked, to be honest, because I thought they'd be, I wouldn't say up there, but I thought they'd be having quite a good season, because they have spent quite a bit and got some players in.
Perhaps it is about gelling the new players.
Yeah. That's true.
They've got Rochdale next, haven't they? Is it Rochdale, York, Bank Holiday Monday, isn't it?
We've got Bank Holiday Monday. We play tomorrow against Bromley at home, and then we've got York away on the Monday. So what you just watch it now. I've said that, they'll go and smash us. All the new players will score.
Let's hope we're not talking about that this time next week.
I'll make sure I'm not on that one. Obviously, we've got Altrincham 1, Boreham Wood 1, Barnet 2, Woking 0, FC Halifax 1, Oxford City 1, Gateshead 4, Ebbsfleet 1. Anne, do you want to speak about this one?
Yeah, a good hat-trick for Stephen Werner, who actually is a youth team player at Sunderland. So really good to see him actually, enjoying himself. And glad who got the first goal. Kenton Richardson's a former Sunderland Academy player, so great day for Sunderland Academy, really. But fair play to them. They've started well as well, I think, Gateshead in this league. They pretty much just stayed up, last year, but they've they've hit the ground running. They're in the playoffs. Again, it's very, very early days, but fair play to them. Good to see that they've kind of turned the corner, because they had quite a lot of a little bit of stuff going on last year where that you thought that they could go straight back down again. Just managed to salvage it. And then obviously we all seen what happened to them in pre-season when they were playing a pre-season game and some hearses got drove onto the pitch. Good old non-league, but yeah, like I said, good win for them. Good start of the season. I'm glad that themselves. I know we're going to mention Hartlepool as well, but really good to see that their man Hartlepool from the northeast, doing really well in that league so far. So it's good start for them. Fingers crossed they can keep it going.
Yeah, really good. Ebbsfleet as well. To be fair to them, I thought at first, going into the National League and stuff, I thought, they've just come up, they're going to go straight back down. But then I was reading into it, and a lot of people predicted them to stay up. And obviously, watching them and seeing them and the results coming past, they're actually quite a good attacking team. They do play quite decent football, and I do kind of know now why people predicted them to stay up and have a decent season. So yeah, both teams doing all right. Obviously not a great result for Ebbsfleet, but away from home as well. And Gateshead, like you said, we're doing all right at the minute. Kidderminster 0, Bromley 0, Maidenhead 1, Dagenham 0. Obviously, as we mentioned before, Rochdale beat Eastleigh 2-0. Solihull Moors, who are having a really good season so far, beat Dorking 3-0. Southend 2, Hartlepool 3. Do you want to speak about this one, Claire?
Yeah, so obviously quite a journey for Hartlepool. So fair play to the fans that made the journey down to Essex. Jack Bridge headed Southend in front quite early on, I think it was. I've not written down the minute, so I might be wrong, but let's go with it. And then Tom Crawford equalised to make it 1-1. There was some pretty poor keeping, to be quite honest. Keeper should have done a lot better. 1-1 at half time, and then Gus Scott Morris headed Southend back in the lead 2-1. Not long after. Following a really, really rapid start to the second half, they came out flying. Then not long after coming on, Joe Gray made it 2-2, which was only 5 minutes after Southend had taken the lead. Charlie Seaman scored a third. I don't know if you've seen the goal, but he cut in from the for the byline. Literally snuck past everyone, got a couple of lucky deflections probably on the way, but it was quite a good individual goal to put Hartlepool 3-2 up. Hartlepool have showed good form following their relegation.
Yeah, they have.
3 wins in a row. Southend this week, obviously, they've not been in a great place and they've been deducted 10 points for failure to pay an outstanding debt to HMRC. And to be honest, things are probably not looking too good for them. And we know as fans of clubs that have struggled financially in the past, it's really not a nice place to be in. So I really hope that Southend can get through it. But things are definitely looking up for Hartlepool, and I do tip them as well to be up there this season. I think that form will continue. They've made some really good signings.
Yeah, we played them in a pre-season game, the last pre-season game of the campaign. So literally 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and I was very, very pleased with what I saw from Hartlepool. Considering the year before we played them in pretty much the same time, I thought, right, they're going down because we were very poor. We played mostly kids and stuff like that, and we probably had a stronger side out against them this year and got beat 4-2 or 5-2. I mean 5-2. But Charlie Seaman, I think he scored twice in that game. I don't know if there's a couple of Hartlepool fans in the chat. I might be wrong about that. And he looked a very good footballer. So fair play to them. I'm glad that.
He scored a couple of goals, to be fair. I think they're quite similar in terms of him just going on a little mazy run and taking it all into his own hands.
Yeah.
But they're a nice little club. Hopefully they sort it. I think, obviously Raj wants to sell the club. So hopefully he manages to find a decent buyer that's going to do the right thing with them.
Just seen as well in the comments that Chris Maguire's signed for Eastleigh. I mean, what a fall from grace that is. Bless him. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, Mancini, he looked a good player as well. Actually, Jill mentioned
look
that.
a good player.
Yeah, is he the one with the long hair and the Alice band? Is that
Yeah.
Mancini? Yeah. He actually, he looks a really good footballer. Yeah, he really does.
Yeah, I think they'll do well, Hartlepool, this season, and I hope they do.
Absolutely. And
I hope they do.
like we say, fingers crossed for Southend that they manage to sort themselves out.
Yeah, I mean, all the fans want to do is go and watch the team at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, and that could be soon taken away from them. So
And it
fingers
was
crossed.
so heartwarming. The pictures of the ground before the season started. It's so heartwarming to see the fans come out and do their bit to make sure the season could begin. Because the ground was in no state. I don't know if you saw the pictures, but it looked like it had just been abandoned.
Yeah.
There's passionate people, and nobody deserves to lose the football team. Nobody.
Completely agree. I saw as well. I follow. I think it's like a journalist or something, or somebody who works. And they've been covering Southend a lot. And there was a quote from the actual judge. From the hearing, and he basically said that it would have wound them up previously, like quicker than this, but because it's a football club and because the fans and everything, that's why obviously Vic is giving them more time and he wants to be a bit more lenient with them, because obviously it's for the fans.
Yeah.
So, I think the debt had been reduced as well, hadn't it? So it wasn't like they weren't making steps to pay it. They just weren't able to pay the whole thing. So I think that's probably probably helped him somewhat.
Yeah, definitely. I really hope they sort it out. It's not looking good, is it? But I really hope some miracle happens for them. I really do, because it's so sad to see.
Yeah,
so sad to see.
It is, yeah.
The last game as well that I'm going to talk about, even though I'm not really keen on the team. I don't like AFC Fylde for reasons that I won't get into.
Horrible club.
Someone's associated with them who tried to obviously do Rochdale dirty. So I'll try and be as diplomatic as possible. But I am very happy about this result. Wealdstone 3, AFC Fylde 2. And it is really funny, actually, because the guy who scored for Wealdstone is actually an on-loan striker, Tavon Campbell, from Rochdale. He is one of our most, if not the most expensive striker we have ever signed. He's done absolutely nothing for us. He's been injured the other games. He's not played much, but the games he has played, he's not really done anything for us. Then he's been injured the whole time. Then he went on loan a couple of times, and now he's scoring goals for Wealdstone. So it's just brilliant to see that. Not.
Will he be coming back in January then, will he, do you think?
I don't think he will, I think this is basically, I think this is nearing the end for him. I think we've kind of got him on loan. I think it fits both parties perfectly. I think it is like running his contract down. I think anyway, but I am usually wrong. But he got the first goal, and then Omatayo got the equaliser in the 37th minute for Fylde. Nick Horton then put Fylde in front 8 minutes into the second half.
Have you seen that goal?
Yeah.
Crazy, wasn't it?
Really crazy. Really crazy. And then it was a bit of a wild few minutes for AFC Fylde. Pierce Bird, their defender, gets booked in the 60th minute. And then gets his second yellow in the 62nd minute. So 2 minutes after, he got sent off. So I think he's proper lost his head there. Not good for them, but obviously another reason why I don't like AFC Fylde shows it. And then Nathan Ferguson equalises for the home team in the 86th minute. And then Tavon Campbell, Rochdale legend, seals the win with a 90 plus 9th. minute winner. Imagine the scenes when you get a winner in the 90 plus 9th minute. I mean, I'm happy with that result because I don't like AFC Fylde, but it's a bit of a kick on the teeth when Tavon Campbell's scoring for them now.
It's going to happen a lot, though, these 90 plus 9, 90 plus 11 goals, isn't it, with all this
that
added
is
on
true.
time?
That is true.
It's going to happen quite often. I mean, Tavon Campbell's a Football Manager legend for me, so I can't really say much bad about him, but obviously...
It was for us. That's probably why Robbie Stockdale signed him. It ended badly.
Oh, bless him.
But yeah, never mind. And a quick look at the National League table. So we have got Barnet who top it on 10 points, but Solihull Moors and Chesterfield also on 10 points. We have Hartlepool on 9 points in 4th place. 5th place, Wealdstone on 8 points. And we have Gateshead and Maidenhead and Halifax all on 7 points. 6 points, we have Southend in 9th place. Oh, obviously this will need updating now as well because of Southend. But before this happened, if there's any Southend fans watching, I'm sorry. But Southend in 9th place on 6 points. Altrincham on 6 points. Rochdale on 6 points. And Ebbsfleet. Then we have Boreham Wood and Kidderminster, both on 5 points. Oldham, AFC Fylde, Woking, Aldershot, all on 4 points. Then we have Eastleigh and Dorking on 3 points. In the relegation zone, we have York City and Bromley, both on 2 points. And then we have Oxford City and Dagenham Redbridge at the bottom, all on 1 point. And we'll just quickly now have a quick scoot through these fixtures, if we can get the right slide on. So Championship coming up on Friday at 7:30, we have Hull City versus Bristol City. Saturday, we have Birmingham City against Plymouth Argyle. Cardiff City, Sheffield Wednesday, Coventry City, Sunderland, Huddersfield, Norwich, Ipswich Town, Leeds United, Millwall versus Stoke City, Preston North End versus Swansea, Rotherham United versus Leicester City, Southampton at home to QPR, West Brom at home to Middlesbrough, and then our Sunday dinner time game is Watford versus Blackburn Rovers. League One, we have Bristol Rovers versus Wickham, Burton Albion host Bolton Wanderers, Cheltenham Town versus Northampton, Exeter City versus Reading. I'll take a quick breath. Fleetwood Town host Shrewsbury Town, Leyton Orient versus Cambridge United, Lincoln City host Blackpool. We have Oxford United versus Charlton Athletic. This one I'm quite looking forward to. Peterborough and Derby County, I think that'll be a decent game. Port Vale versus Carlisle, Stevenage, Portsmouth, and Wigan Athletic versus Barnsley. I think that's potentially going to be a good game as well. League Two, we have AFC Wimbledon against Forest Green, Barrow at home to Wrexham, Bradford City play Crewe Alexandra, Gillingham play Colchester United, Harrogate Town play Morecambe, Mansfield Town play Stockport County. What am I on to now? MK Dons, it's messing my eyes. MK Dons play Doncaster Rovers, Newport County against Sutton United, Notts County versus Tranmere Rovers, Salford City are at home to Accrington, Swindon Town play Crawley Town, and Walsall play Grimsby. National League, on Friday we have Rochdale versus Bromley, can't wait for that. Solihull Moors versus Halifax Town, Southend United versus Eastleigh, and on a Saturday we have Aldershot versus Wealdstone, Altrincham versus Chesterfield, Boreham Wood versus Oldham Athletic, Dagenham and Redbridge versus Barnet, Dorking Wanderers against York City, Ebbsfleet at home to Kidderminster, Gateshead play Woking, Maidenhead play Oxford City, and Hartlepool play AFC Fylde. And breathe. Thank you so much, though, to everybody who's been involved in the chat and has stayed this long. I thought it wasn't going to be as long as this, but we're talking football. We're having a good time, and just thank you so much. And thank you so much as well to Ant and Claire for being here and talking football to me. If people do want to check out you, where can they find you, Ant?
Oh, where at the minute it's where can't you find us at the moment? I'm doing all sorts. Yeah. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter. It's Anthony_Waterson. I'm also at the Rugger Report. I am at the How Are the Lasses, which is the only fan related podcast which is solely for Sunderland women, and we're actually trying to get the best FCA awards. So if you wouldn't mind giving us a vote, that would be fantastic. And at Waterball which is the Wabba Pod, that is on Twitter. Yeah, I think that's everything. And this.
Everywhere.
Just a podcast slut me.
I love it. And Claire, thank you so much. Obviously, it's your first episode. Thank you so much for talking football. You've been brilliant. And if anybody wants to find you, where can they find you?
Twitter is Claire_Jeffs, and yeah, that's about it.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm not on all the other podcasts, of course.
But you're on this one.
Yeah, you might see me back.
And I don't know if anyone would want to find me. I don't know why they'd want to find me, but if you do, I am SharXRAFC. I am on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, just everywhere. I'm on the Absolute Football Podcast, whether it be this, whether it be Premier League, whether it be guest episodes. Josh has got me working overtime, so please come and watch. And we also have a really special episode coming out tomorrow. I think it's at 8 o'clock, and it's an interview we did with Matt Jarvis. And honestly, like, people say footballers can disappoint you when you kind of meet them and speak to them and things like that, but he's honestly one of the most humble guys. And some of the stories he was telling us is absolutely brilliant. And yeah, there's an embarrassing moment as well where I kind of make an idiot of myself and he just laughs at me. But yeah, that's just typical me. So please come and support that. I know. Yeah. And if you want to support the podcast page, you can find us everywhere. Josh did make it difficult, so we're all different. So on Twitter, it's Absolute Ball Pod. TikTok is Absolute Football Pod. Instagram is Absolute Football Podcast _. And what is the other one? I can't see my eyes. Facebook is the Absolute Football Podcast. But yeah, thank you so much to each and every person who has stayed with us this long. And I know it's probably impossible, but whoever's in the chat, I hope your teams win this weekend. And bye from us all. Take care.